Welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Live. It's your daily betting show here, brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. And what an intro. New intro. Jazzy music there. Listen to that. Jazzy music. Graphic man John has been working very hard over the last 24 hours to make us really hip and trendy. And we certainly are hip and trendy. Delighted to say, joining me for the very first time. Can you believe it? 2 years we've been working together. I've never done a show with RJ. Hello, RJ. How are you, sir?
Hey Nigel, I'm doing very well. Good to be here. I'm very excited. That intro was
Wow.
very nice. Very nice touches. Looking forward to getting a little bit into Champions League. Cup matches, some other sports, and yeah, it's great to be on the show with you, Nigel. I'm surprised it's taken this long, but the day has arrived.
2 years. It's been a very, very long time. Do you know that music? It made the hairs on my head go standing up.
Yeah, me too.
I see it
Me
done the
too.
same for you as well. It was an amazing
Exactly.
intro. Really getting the juices flowing. Anyway, ahead today for the Betting Weekly Live show. Looking at all the live betting action. Brought RJ on today because there's no better person in the Because We Win crew to look at the lower leagues in the Champions League, these qualifiers. This man follows every league across the world. The Botswana third division. You look at the Angolian second division, the Women's League in Slovakia, League 3. RJ is your man. So if you want to bet on the Champions League qualifiers today, which is the highlight of the soccer action, it starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time. This is the man. RJ, you've been following all these leagues for years now, haven't you? Look at all you've been cashing tickets left, right, and centre.
I have, Nigel. It's something that I take pride in, the domestic leagues and all the foreign countries, right? The problem with some of those leagues is the typical liquidity, right? You have some low limits on these matches, so it's important to pick and choose. And the way I look at it, wherever you can make a buck, right? Try to make a buck. But there are some challenges with those lower leagues, but Bet Rivers does a great job, right? They have a very wide selection. So the majority of the leagues that I do focus on are on Bet Rivers, which is kudos to them. And yeah, there's some interesting matches today in the Champions League. A lot of the matches in the second leg, there's everything at stake, right? There's not a lot of matches where it's done and dusted, right? So it leads to some interesting, and I know there's been some line movement too that you want to discuss as well.
Yeah, this is a big thing. Obviously, the teams come through here getting to automatic qualification. I think they're one round away then from the group stages where the
Yes.
big money is. So these are big matches tonight across Europe. There are some teams that, a lot of people who are not really regular soccer bettors won't know the teams. If you've got a bet on the match or you've got any opinion on the match, make sure you give it in the comments box. Give us any little comment there. Give us your picks on the matches today. So we've got 10 matches on the Champions League qualification. As I said, the matches start at 1 p.m. Eastern time. The last matches kick off at 2:30 Eastern time. So they're out the afternoon across in the States. And these are the prices available with Bet Rivers on these matches. Now, we're not going to go through every single match. There's 10 matches to play there, but I'll give you a couple of little lines of where the market movements has gone. The big move is these are the early prices. So 20 were plus 155 early this morning. They're now plus 163. The money has come from Red Bull Salzburg, who were plus 163. They are now the favourites. Salzburg are the clear favourites at plus 148 with Bet Rivers. So the market there has flip-flopped. The other market move has been for Slovan Bratislava, plus 290. Now currently plus 260 with Bet Rivers. Apple Nicosia, very easy to bet. They were plus 100, even money. They're now plus 114. So they are the two money moves on the day, if you're looking at the market moves. As far as wagering, the biggest wager of the day is on over 2.75 goals on the Asian total at minus 125 on the 20 Red Bull Salzburg match. And that is the real big betting match of the day. And I know, RJ, you've got a big opinion that we're going to come to in a second on that. And the other market that there has been a little bit support for is a bit of a prop bet, but it's in the Slavia Prague match, the total corners. Money for under 3.5 total corners in Slavia Prague. I quite understand that play because Prague hold a 3-1 advantage from the first leg, and I don't think they'll be attacking much. So the market move, 20 Salzburg. The money in that match is very, very strong. The over, very, very popular. And anybody who's seen RJ's post this morning on our Instagram account, if you're not following it, at Because We Win. RJ, you like these goals. You like this move here, don't you?
I do. I mean, you look at the second leg here, right? We look at the situational based approach, right? 20 down 1-2, right? They did get a late goal in the first leg against Salzburg, which is obviously massive for them, right? It gives them a little bit extra motivation heading into the second leg. They are at home. They did start their season domestically with a win, as I did state in the video that I posted this morning. And then Salzburg had a match against Linz and domestically in their second round with a 5-1 win. So I don't think there'll be any shortage of confidence from either of these teams. 20 just simply have to at least overcome that 1-goal deficit that they have. And at home, I think they should, because, Salzburg very rarely keep a clean sheet on the road. I think they've scored 18 goals in the last 3 or 4 matches on the road, Salzburg. And now that, albeit that is a couple cup matches, I think that's domestic and the Champions League first leg against 20. But it's good to see that movement, right? Sometimes that movement is telling that, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe everyone watched the video and they're like, all right, I got to rush and put some money on 2.75, which drove the line movement a little bit. But all jokes aside, this really looks like a match that's ripe for goals. And I think what's critical, and I think I saw in Salzburg's Champions League qualifications, 70% of their matches saw over 1.5 goals in the first half, which was telling to me, right? You'd hate to rely on 45 minutes of play to see a lot of goal production. You'd like to see that early in the first half, obviously on a full game total. But that is my favorite play from the round this week in the second legs.
Yeah, I think it's very popular with bettors. It's quite interesting. You say, I actually like it when people don't agree with me. I like swimming against the tide.
Honestly.
I find if everybody agrees with us, I think that's something that I don't like. But there does seem to be a lot of support for the over on the 2.75 goals to line. Any leans this evening? I know that's your one official play. Is there anything else you like? Anything else? I mean, we've got Rob Kels on the group here. He just says he likes PAOK Malmo under 2.5 goals, looking good. Is that something that's caught your attention there?
Yeah, I do have a couple leans. That is a match, and honestly, I'm on over 2.5 there, Rob. I went back and forth, right? You look at this match, PAOK 2-2, right? Stalemate coming into this. So essentially, both sides, I think, will be a little bit cautious. You look at the big difference here is you look at Malmo, right? Their full domestic season is well in swing. PAOK are in the off season, so their focus right now, their sole focus is Champions League, so they're a little bit more well rested. PAOK is a tough place to play, tough place to go. But I like the look of goals here, to be honest with you. I do understand why you'd say under 2.5 is a decent look here, because what's at stake, right? Like neither side will try to make much of a mistake. And I think, Malmo at plus 309 is actually intriguing to me, because or plus around 300, because they're in full swing, right? They're in great form. PAOK have just been playing friendlies and Champions League matches, so they probably don't have as much consistency under their belt, but they are a lot more well rested and arguably are the favorites because they are at home. But I do like the look of goals in that one. And the other match that stood out to me, Fenerbahce versus Lille. Again, just like the 20 versus Salzburg match, Fenerbahce have a 1-goal deficit heading at home. Jose Mourinho is now leading this Fenerbahce squad, and I like the look of goals there as well. Actually, I was torn, Nigel, between Fenerbahce, Lille, or 20 versus Salzburg for my official play this morning when I posted it. But again, just like the 20 match, Fenerbahce head home, a tough place to play. They started their domestic campaign last weekend with a 1-0 win. Lille's Ligue 1 start this weekend, right? So they'll be looking ahead at that. But that's also a match. Again, when I look at the second legs, you try to find what makes sense from a situational perspective, and if the favorite and the strong team is going to be at home in the second leg with the deficit, I try to target that side for either team total or total goals. So those are the few matches that stand out to me, though, in this leg.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. Will White, one of the handicappers here, 20 plus 0 point, or plus a quarter of a goal. The market's not agreeing with that. Plus 163 now from an opening plus 155. Will's swimming against the tie. Shane, Man City court hearing begins 1st of September. Do you think this has any effect on the outright Champions League winner? I think it's just more of an effect on the Premier League win. I think Arsenal must be thinking this is the year for them. Let's have a look at some other markets here on the Champions League. I don't really bet on the Champions League. I listen to you guys to tell me what to do, and that's what I'm not. It's not. I like to get into it when it gets to the business end. But one thing that's made me money over the years is the Scottish clubs. Whenever a Scottish club is away from home, I like to fade them. Whenever they're at home, I actually like getting with them. And Rangers this evening up against Dynamo Kiev, 1-1 from the opening leg. If you look at Rangers last year in the European football, 5 matches at home, 3 wins, 2 defeats on the road. They only won 1 of their 5. And I think they're a totally different side at home, Rangers and Celtic. When the atmosphere there is at Ibrox and Parkhead, it's electric. On the road, they're very vulnerable. And I always like them at plus money. So I might have a little bit of interest on Rangers plus 104 to beat Dynamo Kiev tonight, but no official play for me. I have some bets on the EFL Cup, which we're going to speak about next. More comments. Nigel, Athletic surely had the best transfer market of clubs across Europe. Yep. Alvarez, Soloff, Le Mans, very, very good looking good. I think West Ham in the Premier League have done the best transfer business in the Premier League. I keep going on about them. I think plus top 8 for the Premier League. But all those answers to those questions will be revealed by the panel this week. Betting Weekly Extra Time will be back on Thursday, and Betting Weekly Premier League will be back. This is all about today. This is all about the bets today, the action for today, the soccer action, the tennis action, and the baseball action. Let's move across now from the Champions League, where RJ has given us his pick. 20 and against Salzburg is the attention for us. And we move to the EFL Cup here in the UK. Probably not much of a handle on this. I don't think there'd be much betting interest, but some really, really big betting moves over the process of this morning. And one of the biggest betting moves, well, it is the biggest betting move of the season so far, is involved in the match between Portsmouth against Millwall. Portsmouth opened up at minus 106 this morning with Bet Rivers. Millwall are plus 265. Portsmouth are now plus 180 to win this match. Millwall are plus 150. Now, this is anybody who's not following this cup competition. It's not the most important thing over here. It's not the most glamorous thing on here. These sides come in here. They have league fixtures at the weekend. They have matches. They go out. They're not really cared about. And team news is so crucial here. So, judging by that move tonight, Portsmouth going out to plus 180. I can imagine the kids will be playing for them. Millwall are plus 150. A couple other moves for you. Blackburn opened up minus 155. They're now betting to minus 195. So Blackburn have been popular all morning. And Watford, who were minus 177 and minus $2. Other than that, it's pretty much as we expected. Sheffield United have also seen a little bit negative towards them. Minus 143 money has come for Wrexham. Well, I can imagine that with the bettors across America with the Wrexham Stars who own the club. The big moves, big betting sort of bets to report, over 3.25 total on the Asian at minus 109 in the Sheffield United Wrexham game. That has been the most popular bet on the English Soccer League. But again, I think this is a tournament. If you're looking at this league, and a lot of people will be watching this and looking at league form, looking at one team in the Championship, looking at one team in League Two, trust me, that has no relevance. The vices are factored in. It's about the starting 11 that play here. How do you cap these kind of matches if you get involved, RJ?
So if I'm getting involved in some of the cup matches, as you said, Nigel, there'll be some rotation potentially. So it's always good to view lineups. But typically, I like to lock in bets well before lineups are announced. So that doesn't really come into play. I look at recent form, really, right? I look at schedule congestion. For instance, one of the matches that stands out to me in the EFL Cup is Portsmouth versus Millwall, which I know you'll get into. But I mean, if you look at their opening matches for both these teams from over the weekend, Millwall lost 3-2 to Watford. Leeds beat Portsmouth 3-3. Surprisingly, Portsmouth got on the board 3 times. Leeds dominated possession with like 65% possession, 24 shots. I think about 8 of those on target, and that's how I try to find teams with strong prowess in front of the net, but the liabilities in the backfield, right? When I'm targeting cup matches, I usually like to target goals, as most know. So that's the way I go about it. But it's really recent form, and then the schedule that both these teams are faced with.
I think there's another important factor when you look at these teams as well. Look at who they play at the weekend. I think if you look at Wrexham this evening, they've got Bolton away, which is a massive match for them. I think that's much more significant than Sheffield United. I think they've got a big game as well. To put it into perspective, my local club to where I live here is Bromley, and my club where I grew up is Wimbledon. Now they're playing each other tonight at Bromley. It's you can get a ticket for £5 and you get a free pint, and they can't sell it. The two of them play at the weekend in the league, in League Two. It's the first match of the season for Bromley ever. It's the first match at home in League Two in their history, 115-year history. You cannot get a ticket for the match; it's sold out. You could turn up today, give a £5, get a free pint. You probably get a place on the bench if you spend 10 quid. But I think that the significance of that is that it's much more important the league form than this match this evening. Sure. The one thing in that Bromley the AFC Wimbledon tonight, I like over 2.5 goals, which is -139 with Bet Rivers. Both sides have a really, really good attacking lineup, and I think they'll put on a bit of a show, but it won't be too much. Jack Wright's made a good point here about Stockport this evening. A couple of people, Duncan Evans said Stockport to beat Blackburn is the bet tonight, around 3-1. They're currently plus 470 with Bet Rivers, big negative for them. And the reason why is that as Stockport, as Jack has said, are reported to being down to 10 senior players, youth players expected to play tonight as well. And that was from the manager of Stockport. And these are the kind of things you've got to really take into consideration. One thing that I didn't take into consideration is that Ibrox tonight, Rangers aren't playing at Ibrox tonight. So that's why I don't do these qualification rounds. That's why I let RJ do all the hard work for me. So that's pretty much the tennis there. There's soccer there. There's the movements, big movements on the Portsmouth match. Huge movements on Portsmouth against Millwall. That is a monumental move, and the money has definitely come from Millwall in that match, and they've gone favourites from plus 265, which is a big move. Let's move across to sports. A little bit later on this afternoon, some tennis action in Cincinnati. The players started already. If you head across to the Bet Rivers app, you'll be able to bet in live on Play now. And if you do bet with Bet Rivers, you'll be able to bet live and watch live on the app. The players all through the evening. I've highlighted 4 matches here for later on today. The first match is Mickelson against Griekspoor. There has been a little bit move here for Mickelson. Mickelson is now -124. Musetti against Jarry, negative for Jarry. He's now plus 190. Shelton Opelka, no real movement on that price. And Fritz against Nakashima. The reason why I've put these on is that there is a podcast available now, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, with myself and Sean Calvert, looking at some of the matches, but not these 4. And there is play at altitude. This is going to be very quick in Cincinnati. The courts run fast. If you look at the statistics, over 10.5 games in some of these matches over the few years at Cincinnati have been cashing quite regular. And I think these are some really big matchups here between 2 big servers. I think Mickelson and Griekspoor over 10.5 games in set 1 at plus 165 is a great bet. Shelton Opelka, the total is 25.5. You very rarely see 25.5 for best of 3 sets, but I think over 10.5 there could be of interest as well. And also Fritz Nakashima over 10.5 as well. The reason I put Musetti Jarry in is because Jarry leads 1-0 in the head-to-head. It's played at a very minor altitude, but Jarry, the Chilean, has a fantastic record at altitude. And at plus 190, he could be the outsider of the day to keep an eye on. There are some bets to report with Bet Rivers. They have seen money for Ben Shelton. Got to be a very brave better at -225, $1,500 to report there. We've seen money for Taylor Fritz, probably in a parlay with Ben Shelton as well. He's heavily supported. And the outsider that has been supported today in Cincinnati later on is Jarry, at plus 190, and the Jarry match starts at 1:40 Eastern time. Fritz is 7 o'clock, and the other 2 matches are 12:20 Mickelson and 1:40 Musetti. There are some matches on the women's in Cincinnati as well. 4 matches we've got here. Mertens against Kostyuk. Kostyuk is a -177 favourite against Mertens. Potapova against Burrell, -137 for Potapova. Burrell plus 110. And Katerina Alexandrova against Kazatkina. -143 Kazatkina, plus 115. And Katie Bolter against Magda Linette. Now, this is an interesting one for me because Magda Linette has played very well in recent weeks. She won the tournament in Prague in the end of last month. Katie Bolter's had a lot of tennis and hasn't been playing very well at the moment. I think Magda Linette here at plus 133 could be a bit of interest. They've played once before and Linette beat Bolter and plus 133. She's an outsider for me at the WTA in Cincinnati. If you want all the tennis odds and the best betting advice from the best handicappers, make sure you download Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, myself and Sean Calvert, and Betting Weekly WTA with Rory Jawani. Okay, finally, wrapping it up. MLB. Now, this is over to you, RJ, because my baseball knowledge is very, very, very limited. We offered it last night, myself and Jack said to anybody, if you've got a baseball bet today, let us know your bet, and we'll give you the shout out. We'll give you a shout out. 2 guys gave us 2 winners. I'm just trying to find the names of the winners. Can't find them at the moment, but I'll find them in a second. But today I've asked for help, and nobody is willing to help. No one's going to put their neck on the line and turn around and say, what are the bets are? There's a whole host of matches from 6:40 p.m. Eastern time on the Bet Rivers app. You're the man. Come on, you're stateside. You got to help. Come on, RJ. Come on, you got to give us a baseball winner.
I'm not sure I'll be much help, Nigel. I don't want to disappoint you or the crowd watching, but I mean, as you can see, I got some baseballs behind me, all autographed. I got a little Red Sox autograph poster from their World Championship. My wife is a massive Red Sox and baseball fan, which is.
Can she come on tomorrow? Can we get her on tomorrow?
I'll see if we can get her on tomorrow for some insight. She might have some better insight than me, but I typically do not bet baseball. I'll be fully transparent. Baseball, I find to be very, very tricky, right? It depends on, the pitching matchups. Do you bet first five? Do you bet total game? Do you bet overs and unders, right? Depending on the stadiums. There's so many variables, I feel like, in baseball. And I see Shane here. Can RJ recommend a simple baseball strategy as a fade player under run line? Yeah, like I said, I don't get typically too involved in baseball, so I don't want to disappoint anyone. I think anytime I have backed any baseball, it's been dogs, right? I try to look for pitching matchups and find strong value plays based on that. I'm a Red Sox fan right now, so their season has been just ebbs and flows, right? Up and down. They have Jarren Duran, up for MVP candidacy. He's suspended right now, as most probably have seen in the news. As you can see, Red Sox are favored tonight, -141. The pitching matchup tonight is Cutter Crawford versus Jose Arena. So, you look at this, and I don't want to make this an official play, but if I'm looking at this, both these players have decent records. ERA is pretty low. The run line is over 10 point. The total is over 1.5. 10.5 runs at even money. So that's something that I would look to back maybe under. But we're also getting to the point, August, right? October starts playoff baseball, and it's very important to see where the teams stand now heading into the final portion of their season. Who's up for wild card? That's where it could get interesting. The Red Sox, my team, are currently two games behind that wild card spot. But you look at actually most teams, right? Arguably outside of maybe the Dodgers, most teams right now are struggling to find form. I think if you look across the landscape of baseball, most teams are 4-6, 5-5 over the last 10, and you're having a hard time finding some consistency. So, again, Nigel, baseball is tough. Well, if you want to talk college basketball, maybe NHL, I could chime in there, but baseball, that's tough.
We're going to get you on because I tell you what, for someone who doesn't know anything about baseball, you've done really well there. I'll tell you what, we've got.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you did a lot better than I would. Cincinnati Reds first five on the money line from Rob Cos. He's the bet here. I'll let you know where the money is with Bet Rivers. They've taken a decent bet on the Orioles and Nationals over 9.5 at +102. Just under $3,000 be placed on that one on the baseball tonight. And Dodgers on the money line. They were very popular yesterday. We looked at the biggest bets of the day. Dodgers were on the money line yesterday. They cashed, and the bettors are sticking with the Dodgers. As you said, Dodgers seem to be doing well at the moment. They're very, very doing well. And everybody's betting the Dodgers again today, -122 against the Brewers on the money line. So over 9.5 in the Nationals match, and Dodgers on the money line -122. Just one other little bet I'm going to report on the Mertens Kostyuk match on the tennis in Cincinnati. There has been a decent wager, just under $1,000 on the over 22.5 total games with Bet Rivers. So that's it. This is the second show. This is the market movers. I'll just give you an update. RJ, give us your best bet on the Champions League this evening. Where are we going?
So my best bet is 20 of Netherlands versus Salzburg of Austria, looking at over 2.75 goals. As I posted yesterday and this morning, -125, but that has now moved on Bet Rivers, currently -162. So some strong movement overnight on that play.
Strong movement overnight, big money overnight. The biggest bet of the day wagered on RJ's suggestion there, which you can find on our Twitter page at Because We Win. Make sure you follow us on socials, on Twitter and on Instagram. In the English League Cup Soccer, the biggest move of the day betting-wise is the negative towards Portsmouth, the big positive towards Millwall today. That is a huge, huge move. You want to follow the money. You want to follow the action. Millwall is definitely where the action has been since trading started this morning. And on the tennis for me today, I'm like a couple of matches on the Cincinnati tournament, over 10.5 in set one, on the Mickelson match, the Shelton match, and on the Fritz match. As an outsider today, I'm going to go for Jarry at plus 190 on the men's, and on the women's, which starts at 5 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to go for Magdalenette to beat Katie Bolter. And for the MLB, we're just going to keep it simple. They cashed for us yesterday. It's going to be the Dodgers again today. Minus 122, Dodgers on the money line, £2,500 being struck in the last hour with Bet Rivers, and the Dodgers the way to go again. RJ, it took 2 years, but we'll be back again, I'm sure, very soon. Take care.
Absolutely. It's been great. It's good to talk to you, Nigel.
Have a good day, mate. Good luck with your bets. Head across the Bet Rivers app now. Whole host of action coming your way. Load of different sports all day long. Back tomorrow with Steve Wiss and Daniele Fisichella. Take care.